history and relive one of the great matchups as it happened.
It all began on a Sunday afternoon in the Boston Garden. JoJo White went on a tear for the Boston Celtics, poured in 12 straight points. They took a 1-0 lead on the Phoenix Suns for the NBA title. Game 2 was played on a Thursday night, and it was a withering attack in the third quarter that opened the game up as the Celtics won the first 2 at home. The scene then shifted down to Phoenix on a Sunday morning. It was tough. It was by far the most physical game of the series. A fight erupted in the second quarter between number 27, Kevin Stacom, and number 40, Ricky Sobers. Stacom of the Celtics and Sobers of the Suns both were tossed out after the incident. Then the Suns went up by 23. Celtics battled back, and it took a 33-point effort by Alvin Adams to pull the game out for Phoenix. And that sets the scene for Game 4 tonight in the Veterans Memorial Coliseum here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's Boston against Phoenix, and the Suns need another victory to tie it up. Good evening, everybody, and I think you can tell that the crowd here in Phoenix is ready for this NBA championship game. I'm Brent Musburger along with Rick Barry, and Rick, I have looked so forward to this game ever since the one ended on Sunday.
Well, Brent, there's no doubt about it. It's a very crucial game for the Suns to try to get themselves back into the series. I know that the Boston Celtics feel that they can win this basketball game. They are going to have a commanding lead over the Phoenix Suns. And you talked about a physical game. The last ball game, this one is really going to be something. We can really look for tremendous intensity on the part of both basketball teams.
All right, also working with us, Mindy Rudolph and Sonny Hill. Mindy has been in the Phoenix locker room, and he can tell us about the mood of the Suns. Mindy?
It's June the 2nd here in Phoenix, but I'll tell you, it's like New Year's Eve. It's that kind of an atmosphere. And it's an atmosphere, it was like a crusade with the Phoenix ball club on my back, the Phoenix Suns, followed by their loyal fans who are on a crusade against the Boston Celtics, the bad guys. Contrary to a lot of opinions, Boston is not a rough club. They're not a dirty club. They're a hard-nosed, physical, aggressive club, and that's the kind of a basketball game that Phoenix is going to play tonight. They're going to play the same kind of a game that they played in the third game that beat Boston. So we can expect a nose-to-nose battle with the Phoenix Suns. We can expect a lot of rebounding, a lot of tough, rough, tumble basketball game. And now to Sonny Hill with more on the Boston story. Sonny?
More on that big boot that you heard in the background there, Mindy. Talking to the Boston Celtic basketball players, you get the impression that they recognize how important this basketball game is. I spoke with Dave Cowens, Charlie Scott, and John Doe Havlicek, and all of them agreed that they had to come out and establish the tempo of the game. Charlie Scott took it a step further and said they had to play the aggressive basketball that is noted for the Boston Celtics and not let the referees or the fans or anybody else take them away from that. Now let's go to Brent Musburger and Rick Barry.
All right, Sonny Hill, thank you very much. And we are set to go. And the second standing ovation for the Suns now taking place in the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. But look out, because as Rick Barry predicted, this could turn out to be a war as we check those starting lineups. It'll be Kaburski again for Heinz and Celtics. John Havlicek will come off the bench. Silas and Perry, the other forwards. Adams and Collins, the centers. And then the guards, Westfall and White, and Sobers against Scott.
Two things to look for. We could look for Dave Cowens trying to establish a game down low. He didn't do that in the last ball game. Also, Phoenix may send their forwards up the floor to relieve some of the pressure on the guards by setting backcourt picks.
All right, Rick, Celtics with control. Silas gave it off, and JoJo White hits the first shot of this game. He was the first Celtic on the floor for practice, and for about 15 minutes, I don't think he missed a single shot. The Boston Celtics have come to play this basketball game. Perry is out away from the basket as Kaburski takes in. The Rookie of the Year, Alvin Adams, passing inside underneath, and we've got our first foul call by Manny Soko working with Don Murphy.
Well, we, of course, have Charlie Scott once again getting into early foul trouble. Picks up the first foul with only 29 seconds gone in the ball game.
Inbounds pass goes to Alvin Adams, who scored 33. Collins says he's going to play some defense tonight. I'm going to make it. Perry on the turnaround for the baseline. In and out, and Alvin Adams with a second chance. Silas with control, and the Celtics with an early two-point lead, put up there by a field goal by JoJo White. Silas over to Kaburski. Bad finger and all. Misses outside. You see Collins pursue the ball against Adams, and Adams bounced it off in and out of bounds.
The
sure was a lot of contact in that play. Manny Sokol right on top of it. Didn't feel that a foul was justified. Mindy, what do you think of that one?
No harm, no foul. Right, Rick.
Adams back to help out as the Celtics go to their pressure defense. This is the 4th set of referees that we have had in this NBA championship series. Ricky Sobers, the rookie from Nevada at Las Vegas, going over to Alvin Adams, the other rookie from Oklahoma. Gar Hurd comes over to try and screen and help out. Shot clock a factor. Westfall with a bomb outside. Off the front of the rim, a fresh 24 for the Phoenix Suns. Sobers gives it to Curtis Perry. Cowens trying to clog the middle, stepped out on Perry, who misses. Suns a little tight here in the opening seconds of this game.
Their shot selection leaves a little bit to be desired at this point.
Gar Hurd was coming baseline, but he was fouled by Paul Silas as he went up in the air. And Silas has picked up his first foul. 2 team fouls against the Celtics, none against the Suns. We've had only 1 field goal put up there by JoJo White. 10:29 left in the first quarter. Westfall, and JoJo comes with him from behind the Adams screen. Westfall tries to get inside, clogged up, and Silas with still another rebound. You can feel the crowd and the intensity of this game right off the top. Game 4, NBA championship. Here's Cowens, just what Rick Barry predicted. Going inside on Alvin Adams, trying to make him work. He hit the field goal, and he drew the first foul.
Here we take a look at the play. Charlie Scott getting the ball into Adams. Dave Cowens on a tough shot. He turned right into Alvin Adams. He's going to pick up an opportunity for a 3-point play. I would have thought that Dave would have spun back the opposite way. He had a lot more room there.
If you missed Sunday's game, Cowens, who was hustling back for the steal, fouled out. And that's when Alvin Adams went crazy. Adams now giving the ball to Ricky Sobers. Charlie Scott is with him, and here's Westfall. Westfall's 44. White came over, and there was contact and a personal against JoJo White. Tommy Heinsohn yelling instruction to the Celtics, who have opened up a 5-0 lead. The Suns have not yet scored, but we've had 3 fouls against the Celtics and 1 against the Suns. Now outside. Many of their shots off the mark and short. Perhaps the club's still a little tense. Kaburski was in on top of Perry, and it was offense as Perry swung around. Offensive foul that time is called.
John McLeod showing a little concern of the inability of his team to put the ball in the basket in these early stages of this very important game for the Phoenix Suns.
The guards have not shot particularly well in this series, with the exception of JoJo White, the only one over 40%. Silas outside from the perimeter off the iron, and Perry controls. Hits Garfield Hurd and off his leg and out of bounds. Scott and White in the backcourt. Among the better duos of guards in the NBA. Westfall comes around behind and knocks it away. Now Paul is back there working with Garfield Hurd. It's back. Westfall on the drive comes right through, and there is a foul as Westfall was driving to the basket. And Heinsohn says that's offense. He can't believe it.
That was a good, Mindy, I think that was a good call. Let's take a look at this one. Paul Westfall takes the ball down the floor on the steal here. And we'll watch Paul Silas and Steve Kaburski get back underneath the basket. Here he comes going right in. There's movement on the play. The man did not establish position.
Question was, Rick, on the play, did he get hit first by Kaburski, or did he bang into Silas first? And in my opinion, Kaburski hit him first. It was a good call.
And the foul went to Kaburski, his first, and Paul Westfall has put the Phoenix Suns on the scoreboard with 9 minutes and 8 seconds to go in the first quarter. It's 5-2, Celtics over the Suns. 3 points for Cowens and 2 for White. And a little high and off of Cowens' left hand. Bad pass from JoJo.
There were plays like that that plagued the Celtics in the last basketball game. They made an exorbitant amount of turnovers early in the first quarter.
Perry back to help the guards with control of the ball. With pressure defense right now. You can watch the Celtics force the Suns into some bad shots. Sobers and Silas with control. And here comes Charlie Scott and the Boston Green. Swinging right wing inside. Cowens making Adams work. Rolling the hook shot, and we had another foul. Westfall. 24. On Garfield Hurd, number 24.
We'll watch it again as Dave Cowens definitely trying to establish the inside game. You saw Paul Westfall reach in, grab Dave Cowens on the arm, and he's going to the free throw line for the second time in this ball game. And Phoenix Suns, once again, that inability to put the ball in the basket, which hurt them so badly back in Boston, is plaguing them here on their own home court. They are shooting 0%.
Pressure in the backcourt from the Celts. Adams down there to help out, and here comes their ball handler, Ricky Sobers, who was kicked out after engaging in a second quarter fight with Kevin Steakham in Game 3 on Sunday. Westfall pops out. Crowd wants a foul call. Westfall on a penetration, rolls the left-handed shot. Outlet from Cowens to JoJo White. Sobers and Hurd are back. From the perimeter, White in and out, and Hurd was there to rebound. You can just tell that the Celtics want this one in the worst way. Alvin Adams back now to Paul Westfall, left side. It's 7-4. Listen to the crowd here in Phoenix. You can't hear yourself think.
Well, they were waiting 4 minutes for that shot to go in.
7:54. Silas right side. They give him the shot. He is not a good shooter. There's a loose ball foul. It's on David Cowens.
Right.
And Heinsohn is going crazy over there. We've got a timeout called, and Tommy Heinsohn was pushed away by John Killelea. He's all over the officials. He can't believe the loose ball foul call against Dave Cowens. Manny Sokol is just called a technical. So the Boston Celtics, with Coach Tommy Heinsohn doing the arguing, have just picked up a technical foul. Killelea pushing Heinsohn back toward the Celtic bench. Something, Mindy Rudolph, you said you were expecting here tonight.
I expected Tommy to explode. And every time I look like Tommy Heinsohn, he reminds me of a pressure cooker whose safety valve is stuck and ready to explode at any time. Now, the officials must keep the game under control in order to keep this thing in hand, because if they don't, then we have an awful lot of problems out here. We should see a lot of fouls called early.
Are you a real fan? Want to be courtside?
With the pass. Come on, guys.
Need a photo? Who's your favorite player? Searching for some numbers? Want to see the replay? Is that the game ball? Need some stuff? To experience the NBA live and to get the best seats of the hottest games, log on to NBA.com or America Online keyword NBA.com. What are you doing? Experience the NBA online. NBA.com.
That moment in Game 4 was the greatest shot that I've ever taken. I faked like I was going to pass it and go to the baseline, and I crossed over and then I came to the middle. Man, when that ball went through all net, oh man. I've always dreamed of beating the Celtics with a shot, and I got my chance.
To the NBA's greatest game.
The score is the Celtics 7 and Paul Westfall 5. Alvin Adams at the line has pulled the Suns to within 1 point. We have 7 minutes and 48 seconds, and Adams can tie it. Celtics come back down against the Suns defense and this crowd that has gone crazy ever since Game 3 began on Sunday. Here's JoJo White getting inside with the pass. They have turned it over again.
That was a great defensive series by the Phoenix Suns. They did not allow the Celtics to do anything.
Sobers at the line. Suns lead.
That's the first lead of the game for the Phoenix Suns.
7 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the first, and Heinsohn still screaming at the referee. White with a miss. Garfield Hurd rebound. Sober's got a man ahead of him, and it was knocked away. JoJo White saving it on the turnover. Here come the Celtics. They can tie it. Charlie Scott, who was 3 of 16 Sunday, misses a shot here, and Sobers will come back down for the Suns. And Hundo John Havlicek will check in just a moment. Adams, the Westfall, began his move to the basket, and he was blocked as he started his assault on the hoop, and again Heinsohn is upset.
The big question with John Havlicek, of course, is just how sore is his foot. He did say that he injured it on one play in the last ball game. And of course, if he is not able to work at top efficiency, it will be a big factor in this basketball game.
Steve Kaburski goes out, Rick, with the 2 fouls. Havlicek replaces him. So for the first time in this game, Heinsohn sends Havlicek out to play forward. You can expect John to be playing some guard before the game is over. It is 11-7. The Suns build a 4-point lead, and 6 minutes and 40 seconds to go as the Suns have reeled off 9 straight points. Scott on the go to Silas, who broke the late and beat his man.
That is a classic backdoor play.
It was Garfield Hurd who jumped out trying to intercept, and Silas just took off for the basket. Offensive foul is the call, and it's against Ricky Sobers, number 40. Sobers' first foul. The Celtics are over the limit. 5 team fouls, only 2 against Phoenix. 6:16 to go in the first quarter. Hurd backing off of Silas. The Suns use a zone principle defense. Cut off the passing lanes. From deep in the corner, Scott misses again. Alvin Adams, outlet pass, Curtis Perry, Hundo John Havlicek came over, and a left hand on it, and knocked the ball out of bounds.
You see John Havlicek anticipating perfectly, cutting off the angle on the play, getting over to knock the ball out of bounds.
Rick, may I compliment our cameramen Sunday and here again tonight. They are capturing everything on those isolated replays. That time it was Havlicek. Sobers begins his move, cut off by Scott.
Well, he made that shot, but you notice he has difficulty dribbling the ball with his left hand. He almost lost control of that ball.
It's 13-9, Game 4 NBA Championship. Scott's pass was picked off that time. Hurd with the ball on the floor. Gar Hurd with the jump shot. It's 15-9. It's 5:37. The Suns have put fire. A timeout. Listen to the crowd. They're going crazy here in Phoenix.
Think the Knicks will go all the way this year? Well, maybe not. What about the Bulls?
Look out for Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, Scotty Dixon, Bill Jackson. The guy's a genius. And the Rockets, Clyde Drexler, and Hakeem.
Olajuwon wheeling and dealing.
Nobody stops the dream. Anybody could win it this year. You're the only one I can talk to.
Once you finally got the ring, everything changes.
12 guys on both teams understanding what it takes to win.
To be able to play against the best, because the best always brought the best out of you.
Every minute that I played for the Celtics was a joy to me.
Nobody in the world does this better than you. So, show that.
Dick Block, president of the Phoenix Suns, and he knows that his mom's watching, and he wanted to say hello to you this evening. And in that case, I'll say hello to my mother, too, Fred.
All right, Rick. Mine, too. The last 2.5, and yours, too, Mendy. The last 2.5 minutes, Phoenix has outscored Boston 13-2. Kevin Stakem and White are the guards. White was shooting the shot and drew the foul.
That foul will be on Ricky Sobers, his second personal foul. And of course, the Suns do not want to lose him because he is their primary ball handler against this pressure put on by the Celtics in the backcourt. And it has not been as intense as I had really anticipated, Brent. I'm quite surprised.
Rick Paul Westfall is the leading scorer with 7 points. Cowens tops Boston with 5. For JoJo White, that was his first point since he hit the first field goal. And the veteran Dick Van Arsdale checks in with Sobers going out with those 2 fouls.
Great, Rick, I think one of the reasons for the lack of pressure of Boston in the backcourt could be because of the early foul trouble. And they don't want to gamble possibly with backcourt fouls and are laying off just a little bit more than they anticipated.
As soon as you say that, they're picking him up and pressing him in the backcourt. Never fails, right?
Always happens.
Westfall brings it up successfully for the Suns and uses the glass for his 8th and 9th points. It's 17-11. 5 minutes and 11 seconds to go in the first quarter of this NBA championship game on CBS. Havlicek was driving to the hoop that time and drew the personal. And it was against Curtis Perry, number 18.
Celtics trying to establish the inside game. Both JoJo White and John Havlicek on consecutive plays, taking the drive rather than the outside shot, which the Celtics have been relying on in the last few ball games.
And they drew the second foul that time from Perry.
Of course, the strategy there, Brent, being that if you can get inside a team's gut, as they say, that means inside that key area, you're going to have much better opportunity of beating a team. You're going to get better opportunities. You'll get to the line more often. Your shooting percentage will increase.
Havlicek hits 1 of 2. Suns were not in the penalty. They will be with their next foul. It's 17-12. Westfall and Van Arsdale now in John McLeod's backcourt. Adams far out to the basket on the double team. It was Paul Silas who fouled Paul Westfall. His second. Celtics are already over the limit, so Westfall will have the penalty. But the way he's been shooting, he probably will not need it. Keith Erickson will be checking in.
This is exactly what we talked about, the situation with the Celtics putting the pressure on. You are susceptible to picking up early fouls. And of course, they don't have that depth of the bench. Tommy Heinsohn keeps reiterating that point. He doesn't feel that he can go deep on his bench, and he does not want his key people to get into foul trouble. Now Steve Kaversky's coming back in for the Celtics.
Paul Silas will take a break. So for the Celtics, it'll be Stakem and White in the backcourt, and up front, Havlicek, Kaversky, and Cowens.
Everybody, as far as the Phoenix Suns are concerned, are really looking for Keith Erickson to break out of his horrendous shooting slump that he's been in. He was such an instrumental factor in their 2 series wins prior to this one.
4:43 to go in the first quarter. Erickson was yelling, and that time they got the foul. Keith Erickson, who has been in foul trouble throughout this series. As Rick Barry pointed out, he has shot poorly, and he has also picked up quick personals. It has been a frustrating 3 games so far for Keith Erickson. Game 5, don't forget, Friday night on CBS, 9 p.m. Eastern Time from the Boston Garden. Havlicek hits his free throws. It's 19-14, 4:40 to go. Westfall. Adams outside. Cowens staying right with him. The jump shot. And how about that? He has drawn another foul from David Cowens.
Let's take a look at the replay. Here you see Alvin Adams coming off a little screen down play, takes the jumper, gets a good bounce, it goes in. Dave Cowens a little bit too aggressive on the defensive try.
And Jimmy Ard, Rick, has come off of Tommy Heinsohn's bench. Cowens has picked up 2 fouls guarding the rookie. 4:24 to go in the first quarter. It's 22-14. The Suns ahead of the Celtics. The Celtics leading the series, 2 victories to 1.
Not very good movement by the Celtics.
Cowens, inside move on Adams, put it down, and again drew the personal foul. He will come to the line in an attempt to put down his second 3-point play.
There we go, Dave Cowens. Again, establishing the inside game, going up, taking the shot. If Alvin Adams committed that foul, I never saw it. He just stood there with his hands up.
Looked like a phantom foul to me. He's allowed that vertical position, Rick, and I didn't see any contact at all on the play.
A 5-point Phoenix lead over Boston. Look at Cowens battling Adams. What a magnificent duel that has turned out to be. Carhart gives it back to Van Arsdale, who goes to Paul Westfall. Westfall on the penetration, turnaround. Misses, and there was the always hustling Cowens to snap it down. Hondo. 22-19. It is a 3-point Phoenix lead, 3:36. The Suns a much slower team on offense. They will set up a pattern style of play. Adams is left alone. Gar Hurd at the offensive board. Missed and there was contact. Steve Kaburski very unhappy. His third personal foul.
Let's watch Garfield Hurd. Look him coming in. Steve Kaburski allows him to get good inside position. He goes up, gets the offensive board, turns in. Kaburski kind of throws his right hip into him as he was up in the air picking up the foul. And the reason Gar Hurd was able to get that board is Steve Kaburski neglected to box him off the boards. And if you don't do that, Gar Hurd will eat you alive.
Paul Silas, of course, over on the bench, and now Jimmy Ard is checked in, and Dave Cowens will be out. So the Celtics will have Stakem, Kaburski, White, Ard, and Havlicek against Erickson. Dennis Autry's just come in. Gar Hurd, Paul Westphal, and Dick Van Arsdale. Autry there on Havlicek and switched out. Sticks with him. Havlicek drives in. And a foul is called as they battle for the ball. John Havlicek. Picked up his first. 3 minutes and 8 seconds to go. And Havlicek has committed that foul in the backcourt. That's why they're coming up. Heinsohn is talking to Dave Cowens over on the Celtic bench.
That foul was committed on a loose ball foul, Fred, and therefore they're going to shoot the fouls because they're in the penalty situation, and we will not have a backcourt foul. It's just a loose ball foul. They'll have one more attempt only.
Ard snaps it down. 25-19 and 2:55 to go in the first quarter. JoJo White. The Celtics pull to within 2 field goals.
That's what you call doing it on individual effort right there.
That time it was in the backcourt. Kevin Stakem was on Paul Westphal.
Looks to me, Mendy, like there's going to be no way that Don Murphy and Manny Soko are going to allow this game to get out of hand.
No way. I said that earlier, Rick. They're going to call a lot of fouls very early in the game to establish the oft-used word tempo. They do not want this game to get out of hand.
Brent, we talk about the Phoenix fans here and how vociferous they are. Let's not forget the folks back in Boston. Those people are pretty vocal back there also, and they're going to really be up for Friday night's ball game.
Those folks in Boston will never let you forget about them. 2:39, it's 27-21. Suns ahead, and there was contact away from the ball.
Dennis Autry holding Jimmy Ard as he made a cut through the key area. Take a look at the play. Now watch Autry, number 21. There's Ard going, seeing with the hand out, doing a little bit of holding as he's starting to go, and that, as they say, is a no-no.
Here's the penalty. Suns come back to work, leading by 5 points and 2 minutes and 29 seconds to go in the first quarter. Gar Hurd. Jimmy Ard gives it up to Havlicek. Jimmy Ard.
Once again, Jim Ard giving the Boston Celtics a big lift. The big fellow on the bench, Dave Cowens, in foul trouble.
Charlie Scott was moving in on Dick Van Arsdale, and he fouled him. That is the second personal against Scott.
Let's watch Jimmy Ard in the last play. John Havlicek passes the ball to him, makes a dribble going to his left, spins back, makes a little contact with Dennis Autry, still puts the ball in the basket.
To 24 and 2:06 to go. Friday night, more NBA basketball on CBS. Then Saturday, it's the Belmont as Scott began an assault on the hoop and put it down.
That play was made possible because Keith Erickson lost total contact with the basketball. He had no idea where it was, and if he had seen it, he would be able to turn around and at least make an effort to stop that play.
It's a 3-point Phoenix lead. Off to Garfield Hurd, and again we've got a foul. Kevin Stakem.
Let's watch the last basket. Now watch Van Arsdale just a little fake falls down. Charlie goes in. Now look at Keith Erickson right there as Charlie drove in. Keith Erickson had his head turned to the basketball and had no idea where it was. And he would have been able to possibly prevent Charlie Scott from having such an easy opportunity. The last 9 points, Brent, by the Phoenix Suns have been scored on the free throw line. Make it 10.
31-26. Phoenix over Boston. 1:35 to go in the first quarter. In the Coliseum in Phoenix. Game 4 of the NBA championship. Again, it was Scott who penetrated. Second chance back to Jimmy Hard, who put it down. So Scott's ability to get inside that lane area the last 2 trips down the court have helped out tremendous. And there's a reminder about Super Joe Einhorn and the Sports Spectacular coming up along with the Belmont Saturday. Van Arsdale. Controlled by Garfield Hurd. The Suns will get a second chance. McLeod signals the play. Erickson. And the ball still will not drop for the veteran. Havlicek right back down with a missed shot. And Garfield Hurd with control for the Suns. We are inside of a minute. 45 seconds to go. It's 31-28. Dennis Autry with an elbow. Call for the offensive foul. The second personal against Autry.
The Celtics will probably try and get the ball up the floor quickly with 40 seconds remaining. They take a quick shot. This way they can get 2 shots to 1 for Phoenix.
Scott was driving on Van Arsdale. And a foul is against Dex.
Charlie, John McLeod, Al Bianchi, and Ricky Sobers in your screen right now.
You'll have 1 question for the lead for 2 shots.
Celtics trailing by 3 and make it 2. Gar Hurd was out to pick for Paul Westphal. Now Gar goes in low. Autry out away from the basket. Hurd turn around left side and it goes down 33-30. Last 15 seconds, the Celtics will play for 1 shot.
Gar Hurd taking advantage of the height advantage he has over John Havlicek.
We'll watch him work against the clock. Kaburski and 5 inside now, and Kaburski travels with 4 seconds. Steve Kaburski travels. The Boston Celtics turn it over. Celtics will pressure the ball, try to prevent a shot. Here it goes to Erickson. Keith throws it up at the buzzer. Keith Erickson, who has not been shooting well, and maybe that will turn it around for Keith.
That's what he does so well. Brady did it against us, and he killed us. There's the shot. Watch it go.
Celtics.
You know, it's actually pronounced Celtic.
What is?
Celtic.
You're telling me the Boston Celtics are actually the Boston Celtics?
That is correct.
So my choice is I either agree with the rest of the world or you.
Uh-huh.
Beat those Celtics.
I love this game.
You know it's game time and the joint is jumping, jumping. Come and get it on. The place is full of ballers.
Up and under on the baseline and she scored.
Fans get up out your seats. You know it's game time and the joint is
Oh, that's outstanding WNBA action.
Welcome back to the NBA's greatest game.
idea of how tough this series has been and just how much the referees are trying to put it under control. There were 11 fouls called on Phoenix, 13 on Boston. And Rick and Mindy, you think that might be a playoff record for a first quarter?
I'd like to look in the book that we're going to do that, Brent. That's an awful lot of fouls in one quarter. We may sometimes not even have that in a whole half or maybe three quarters. Right, Rick?
That's exactly right, Mindy. And, of course, Phoenix went before Keith Erickson's last field goal at the buzzer, went approximately 4 minutes without scoring a field goal. They got them all on the free throw line.
Ricky Sobers has checked back in. Wearing number 40, he brought the ball up. He has it now against Kevin Stakem. Stakem and Scott are in Tommy Heinsohn's backcourt. And Erickson, who hit one at the buzzer, tried to draw the foul as he went down from Steve Kaversky, and there was no foul called on that play. It's 35-30. Phoenix over Boston. Game 4 of the NBA championship with the Celtics ahead of the Suns 2-1. So far it's been a home court series. Charlie Scott went inside and had his shot blocked. And Kaversky had it knocked away and out of bounds. Clock is held up, and we're going to have 10 seconds put on that shot clock. Charlie Scott, who has been penetrating here in the last couple of minutes, got inside and missed, and Kaversky gives it up to Havlicek. Over to Scott. Erickson puts it down, and here come the Suns leading by 5.
Well, of course, they're giving the extra opportunities to the Celtics, and that could wind up haunting them. They were fortunate that the Celtics didn't score that time.
Both starting centers are on the bench. Kevin Stakem fouled Keith Erickson. That is the third foul against Stakem. And again, Tommy Heinsohn says, what have we got to do? He's on his feet. He picked up a technical as he joined us late. Tommy Heinsohn picked one up early in this basketball game. He's mocking the officials with some laughter right now, but he's furious about this call.
Well, I guess Tommy figures that it's better to laugh than cry.
And crying he can do.
Watching Keith Erickson at the line, he's one of the marvelous athletes in the NBA. Probably would have been a great soccer player. We'll have Soccer Sunday on CBS. It'll be Tampa Bay against the New York Cosmos. As you take a look at the first quarter shooting statistics. Jimmy Hart. Inside pass to Hondo Havlicek and put it down, and there were a lot of people yelling that's a 3-second violation.
Well, it seemed like John was in there quite a long time, and if there was no 3-second violation, he of course made a good play.
Well, in order to get a 3-second violation, Rick, you have to go 1,001 to 1,003. And sometimes when you count 3 seconds, it's a lot longer than you think it is.
Don Nelson checks in.
There's the play again. Havlicek goes down. He dribbles the ball around a little bit, makes a couple of fakes, goes up, shoots the ball, picks up opportunity for the 3-point play.
JoJo White, who just come back in, was the one who saved it, and the pass back toward White was picked off by Dick Van Arsdale, who was standing right in the passing lane. Sobers gives it up to Curtis Perry, who after faking hard came up with a missed shot. It's 37-32. Suns over the Celtics by 5. Nelson. Battle with Jimmy Hart going high up in the air, and a loose ball foul is called.
Ricky Sobers picking up his third personal foul. Tried to reach up and knock the ball away and caught Jimmy Hart's arm.
Alvin Adams comes back off of John McLeod's bench, and Dennis Autry goes out.
One thing about Dave Cowens being on the bench, he's getting a lot of rest over there. And he, of course, has played a lot of minutes. And the Celtics are still right in the thick of this ball game with Cowens on the bench.
Hart and Erickson were battling for position. And Keith has been assessed with that personal.
Mindy, let's take a look at this play right here. Here you go. Keith Erickson tried to battle for position. Jim Hart trying to battle also. It's like a give and take situation. How do you know who to call a foul on there?
The play on that, Rick, is to call it very early. You've got to give the offensive man his position if he's there first. And I think if he'd have called the foul earlier on Erickson, the bumping and the contact you saw would not have occurred.
Nate Hawthorne in for Phoenix. Havlicek with an offensive rebound puts it back down. It's 37-34. A 3-point Phoenix lead. 10:04 to go in the second quarter. Westphal gives it up to Charlie Scott, and I should say Van Arsdale gives it up to Charlie Scott, and then Van Arsdale fouled him, and that is how many fouls against Van Arsdale?
his second. It's the 4th team foul, Brent. Of course, with 10 minutes to go, they have a big advantage. And now watch Dick take his eye off Charlie Scott. Charlie made a great defensive play there. He saw Dick Van Arsdale looking up the floor, anticipated well, went in and took the ball away. There, again, John Havlicek making a move, trying to go to the basket. Evidently, his foot must not be bothering too much because he's doing a lot of movement, a lot of driving to the basket, more so than he's done in the 3 previous games. Nate Hawthorne picking up his first foul, putting Phoenix in the bonus with almost 10 minutes to go. That could be a big factor here in the second quarter.
Boy, that is unbelievable, Rick. You know that? There are 2 minutes gone, and we've had 5 fouls called against Phoenix. That's an indication of what's going to take place in this ball game.
Well, all of the arguing, complaining that Tommy Heinsohn was doing on the sideline seems to have taken effect.
It sure looks like that, doesn't it?
Havlicek can pull the Celtics to within 1. 9:54 to go in the first half. Westphal bringing it up on JoJo White. Van Arsdale takes Scott down low. Nate Hawthorne pops out with Havlicek on him. The battle of the boards won by R. Off to JoJo, quickly to Charlie Scott. Celtics on the move, and Scott couldn't hold on. Adams up court to Westphal. A little too far ahead of him, but Paul got to it in the corner, and Alvin Adams comes back down. Who can hold on to the basketball right now? Here's Van Arsdale. Getting inside, using the glass.
A lot of action going on there, and a nice move by Dick Van Arsdale. Double clutch the ball to get the layup on the drive. That's a good call by Manny Salko, Brett. Jimmy Yard got called for an offensive screen. He put his arms out like a football player trying to set a block. Now watch Jimmy Yard, 34, against Nate Hawthorne as Havlicek starts to drive. Look at him. He'll stick his arms out, give a little push-off play. You talk about intensity in playoff competition situation. A friend of mine, Pat France, was talking to you one time, Brent. He was saying that in basketball, if you played 1 point for each half of the game, and you have to win both halves to be able to get a total victory, would really make basketball an incredibly intense game with, of course, an overtime period if each team won each half.
Here tonight, I don't think we'll need a change in the rules to give us intensity. We've had it from the beginning. Alvin Adams with a turnaround miss at 8:46 to go. It's 39-36. Suns leading the Celtics by 3 points. Havlicek battling against Nate Hawthorne. Scott gives it off to White. Shot clock inside 10. Charlie Scott hits outside.
Not the type of shot that Tom Heinsohn is looking for. Good defense by the Suns, forcing the outside shot, and Charlie Scott finding the range.
A 1-point Suns lead. The patient Phoenix attack takes the shot clock down before Westphal puts it in. 41-38. 8:05. JoJo White gives it up to Havlicek. Nate Hawthorne to Van Arsdale. 7 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Westphal again outside.
Paul Westphal with the hot hand again here in the second quarter. He was the man that gave the Phoenix Suns life early in the ball game.
He has scored 17 of Phoenix's 43 points. 7:41 to go in the first half. And a great defensive play by Van Arsdale. Just jumped right into the passing lane.
Super play, Brent.
Perry was reaching for that ball and battling against Don Nelson, and it went out of bounds. Paul Silas, Dave Cowens, and Glenn McDonald will be checking in for the Celtics. Tommy Heinsohn sends in 2 starters and a substitute who has not played in this game. Jimmy Yard, John Havlicek, and Don Nelson will go out. Cowens had a long rest, Rick. Do you think that back has been bothering even more than it was during the regular season?
That could be. We'll try and find that out at halftime.
Westphal up to Van Arsdale, maneuvering underneath the basket, and it is Cowens who comes off the bench and right away yanks down a rebound. Cowens with 2 personal fouls. Off of Silas's hands and out of bounds.
Once again, the sloppiness of the Boston Celtics costing them an opportunity for an easy try at the basket. They've got to be a little more cautious with the basketball. Of course, that's tough to do when you run.
Hawthorne got inside. Underhand scoop miss. Nate Hawthorne will check in for Phoenix. McDonald over Van Arsdale. Batted back by Adams to Westphal. 2-on-2. Now 3-on-3, and there's Cowens. Westfall's turnaround missed, and as they went back up for the rebound, loose ball foul.
Nate Hawthorne picked up that foul, and he has a tendency to do that. He's an incredible leaper, and he really likes to get a running start on those offensive boards, and consequently, he picks up a lot of fouls that way, going over people's backs.
And Rick, that time, he picked up his second foul.
Then technical foul was called against John McLeod as JoJo White goes to the free throw line, converts the opportunity.
Each coach has had a technical call against him.
And that's all they're allowed. The next time either coach has a technical foul called against them, it's an automatic ejection, and they must go to the dressing room. So they'll be very careful when they say to the officials from here on in, Brent.
I'm Stacey Dale Schumann. Basketball just enables you to do things that you didn't think you could do and send a rush of adrenaline from your head to your toe. Well, when I was 5 years old, I wanted to be an actress. I'm very dramatic, very intense. I'm a creative person. I have 2 yellow labs. Their names are Allie and Gracie. They're my babies. I'm actually the worst joke teller in the history of the world because I never remember the lines. Does that work for you? This is who I am. I'm Stacey Dale Schumann.
When he goes up to dunk, don't even jump. When he grabs a rebound, don't even try to take it away from him.
He's got the speed and the quickness of a guard and the body of a big guy. He's just awesome.
I know his moves, and I know what he likes to do. And I try to defend it, and I still can't stop it.
He has a complete package. This is a guy who's definitely not one-dimensional. He embodies everything that is great about this game.
Mindy and Rick, I'm going to give everybody the winner of the Belmont. There's a Greek in Las Vegas by the name of Jimmy, and he's whispering Mackenzie Bridge. Now, I never heard of this horse, folks, so don't hold it against me, but he swears that Mackenzie Bridge is going to upset everyone in that field. And, of course, Bull Forbes, the Kentucky Derby winner, will be there. Majestic Light, the son of Majestic Prince, a former Kentucky Derby winner, also in that field. Saturday afternoon on CBS.
Every time I hear of a name like Majestic Bridge, Brent, reminds me
This is Mackenzie Bridge.
Mackenzie
Majestic Light.
It sounds something like that. It reminds me of the town we used to play in exhibition games that was so small that when the tide went out, it never wanted to come back.
Oh, boy. I was waiting for the rest of that, Mindy, but that's all right. 6 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the first half. Lumpkin was passing toward Adams, and Cowens got his hand on it. 43-41. Phoenix over Boston by a field goal right now. Let's set the lineups here for Phoenix. We got Westfall and Lumpkin in the backcourt. Adams the center. Perry and Hurd are the forwards. For the Celtics, Scott and White are the guards. Cowens the center. Silas and Glenn McDonald are working at forwards. McDonald giving away a couple of inches. Must take Ferguson. Alvin Adams with an outside touch. He had 33 on Sunday. It's a 4-point Phoenix lead right now over Boston. 6:20 to go.
Boston's not trying to capitalize on their foul situation. Phoenix has 5 fouls. They have not tried to post anybody down low. They've gotten good penetration, but they've stuck with the outside shooting.
Shot clock becomes a factor. Scott will hurry, and he does. It was Cowens at the offensive board who tapped it down. 45-43.
Excuse me, Dave Cowens established super inside position that time. Alvin Adams was fronting a little bit, and Dave took advantage of it. And we're going to show that a little bit later when we get a spare moment.
Westfall comes to the left baseline. White came up on him, no foul. Perry was dueling, and McDonald picked him off.
Let's watch the play. Dave Cowens' last tap-in. You'll see Alvin Adams try to come up in front of him. Now watch how smartly Dave holds him off and keeps him out. He establishes position, releases, goes to the basket. The ball comes off, and he has the inside position. And you cannot give a man like Dave Cowens inside position. But, of course, Alvin Adams was not able to recover after he was fronting, and he should have hopefully maybe gotten a little weak side help from one of the forwards.
Curtis Perry grew up playing basketball in the Washington, D.C. area. A lot of fine basketball players out of there. Havlicek and Staken will be checking back in for Boston at halftime. Redar back on round ball. I'll have a report on the coaching situation in Los Angeles. JoJo White to the free throw line. Paul Silas going back up so Collins and Silas control the offensive boards. Celtics within 2. It's 47-45. Lumpkin signals the play. Adams with Collins watching him ever so closely. Fresh respect for the Rookie of the Year. And it was Glenn McDonald on the steal. Gets past Lumpkin. Brings it down and gives it up to White. Scott, the trailing man on that penetration. He is coming inside, and they are drawing fouls as they come down that lane.
Getting super penetration here in the second quarter, creating numerous opportunities for themselves, whether it be driving all the way in or pitching out from the outside shots. John Havlicek back into the ball game. It was one of those shots that we talked about. It was a bailout shot. Charlie Scott had committed himself. He had taken the shot. Good defense. It was an air ball, and he was fouled after the shot.
We're also going to take a look at one of the top players coming out of the college ranks this year at halftime here on CBS. There are about 12 outstanding prospects, and Garfield Hurd has given up the ball on the inbounds pass. With the game tied, JoJo White puts the Celtics ahead. A key mistake right here. Inside of 5 minutes to go in the first half. Pressure by the Celtics. Scott and White over on Phil Lumpkin, who beats it by himself. Gets past Hondo. John Havlicek still doesn't give it up. And finally, White stepped back on Adams, so Lumpkin was dominating. One-on-one, and Havlicek comes right back. And Charlie Scott at the offensive board, and Alvin Adams takes it away. Tyson can't believe. He thinks a foul should have been called. 4:32, 49-47, and John McLeod is up. Paul Westphal. It's tied at 49.
Paul Westphal should be getting the ball into his hands a lot more often. He has got the hot hand, and he is not getting the ball enough. They should set some more screens and picks and get him ready to shoot the ball.
Inside to White. Celtics definitely trying to penetrate every time they get their hands on the ball right now. 51-49. Celtics leading the Suns by 2. Down toward the 4-minute mark of the first half. Havlicek checking over his left shoulder. Westphal now does touch the ball with 10 seconds on the shot clock. Gives it to Garfield Hurd. And a high arching jump shot goes down. Tied at 51 and 3:46 to go in the first half. Havlicek gets past Westphal. Perry is there. Cross to JoJo White. Crowd wanted traveling call. They're on their feet and screaming at Murphy. Collins with a jump shot. Celtics lead it by 2.
About that traveling, Grant, you really can't have a traveling call if you don't have control of the ball. On that particular play, there was no control.
Heinsohn signaling for Scott to pressure Lumpkin. Lumpkin on the dribble gives it up to JoJo White. He's definitely dribbling too much. He's got to pass it to someone.
Exactly, Brent.
There is Charlie Scott from the left corner, and Scott has given the Celtics a 4-point lead. Now Westphal with control, and the crowd is yelling at John McLeod to get Lumpkin out of there. We come down to 3 minutes, and here's Alvin Adams. Waits for Perry. And JoJo White fouled him. Dick Van Arsdale checking into the game, and Phil Lumpkin going over toward the sideline. He'll sit down. Al Bianchi is screaming at Manny Sokol from the Suns bench. It's 55-51 and 2:55 to go in the first half.
I'm gonna use every trick in the book. I'll try my best to get you hooked. Hey, baby, I'm yours. Every minute, every hour, I'm gonna shower you with love and affection. Look out, it's coming in your direction. I'm gonna make you love me. Ooh, yes, I will. Yes, I will. And
There's a bond from a team standpoint unlike anything you'll ever feel in your life. There's such a commitment and a trust level, and you feel it in the eyes. At that point in time, we would die for each other. No, you don't feel as one, and you don't feel as invincible. You are one, and you are invincible. And when you see that, you're not going to beat that team.
What's his name? Einstein.
It's game time, fella. Right there, come on, Jay.
We just got to give it to him, all right?
We got to represent the ball guys.
But you ain't gonna say it, because I ain't trying to break him, you know what I'm saying?
Welcome back to the NBA's greatest game.
This is Brent Musburger along with Rick Barry and Mendy Rudolph. And Mendy, just as Rick pointed out, Paul Westphal with those 19 points, they've got to get back to him. It's 55-51, Boston leading Phoenix.
Phoenix Suns being bothered a little bit by the pressure of the Boston Celtics.
And Arsdale and White, and the Suns turn it over immediately with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go, and JoJo White from the perimeter trying to give the Celtics a 6-point lead. It was Collins and Adams battling for the ball, and Collins is furious with this call of a loose ball foul. He's over on Murphy right now. That's his third personal foul.
Watch Dave Cowens going in. Looks like he gave a little bump there. He bodies Alvin Adams right there. He's still not called for the foul. Now he's called for the foul, jumping over the back, going for it. He fouled him at least 3 times that time.
I saw it too, for sure, Rick.
3 fouls on Collins, 2:35 to go in the first half. Adams with Scott had switched off on him, and Alvin went right over the top. And Jimmy Yard's going to check back in this basketball game. It's 55-53. And Dave Cowens suddenly becomes the big story of this series. Here is Charlie Scott up against Bill Lumpkin. Alvin Adams takes it down and gives it up. And Cowens is still upset. Lumpkin across the line. Stakem will come back in with odds. Celtics have gotten just a little bit rattled here. Unusual. They were ahead. After the 2-minute warning, Garfield Hurt got the bounce pass. And here come the 2 substitutes.
That's Paul Silas, Brent, picking up his 3rd personal foul. And that can be a big key because he does such a super job for the Celtics, both on the offensive and defensive boards. Dave Cowens coming out of the ball game. I think Tommy Heinsohn did that more out of fear that he might pick up a technical and do something silly out there.
Steve Kaburski, he'll check back in. Cowens over at the Boston bench. Sits down. 3 personal fouls. This is the 2nd time that Cowens has gone out of the game here in the first half.
Something very cute just happened at the Boston bench, Brent. As Kaburski was coming into the game, he ran into Cowens, and Cowens didn't see him. And Cowens automatically just pushed him away with his own teammate.
Those are impressive statistics for Cowens, being that he has not played that much.
Here's Havlicek, Celts up by 2. Suns with control. Van Arsdale off to Lumpkin. Hurd and Perry were hitting those boards. Now the Celtics will have to control those 2 without Cowens. He goes down, and the Phoenix Suns have gone ahead of Boston by a point and 1:30 to go in the first half, and Westphal will come back in. Havlicek to Kevin Stakem for the free throw line, and Boston regains it, 57-56. White picks up Lumpkin. Stakem is over on Van Arsdale. Art, Dooley, Autry, John McLeod giving Alvin Adams another rest. Hurd up with that shot. And it is Phoenix up by 1 as we seesaw. Down to 1 minute to go in the first half. This game is as close as was advertised. Phoenix favored, but ever so slightly. JoJo off to Kaburski, got away from him, and JoJo White regains control. And here's Havlicek. Kevin Stakem with about 2 seconds on the shot clock hit iron. Lumpkin checking right and left, gives it up to Van Arsdale. Kevin Stakem was over there pushing on Van Arsdale.
That was Jim
And
Hart.
Jimmy Ard was there too. He got called with the foul.
He picks up the foul. He tried to pick him up as he made the move. Let's watch him. Pass the ball over. Dick Van Arsdale makes the fake going. You can't see his hand, but Jim Hart had his hand right in Dick Van Arsdale's back, Mindy.
Rick, that was the play that we were talking about at poolside today. And we were talking about it, how important it is to keep the hands off of players because it puts them at such a great disadvantage. You particularly never liked hands at all, did you?
Well, I don't think that's the way defense is meant to be played. I think if you use your quickness and your hands to play position, then you can do an effective job defensively.
The last 20 seconds of the first half. Phoenix leading Boston by 3 points. Dave Cowens on the Celtics bench. 3 personal fouls. Watch the clocks as they count down. Celtics must hurry, and a second it was Jimmy Ard. And here come the Suns, 5 seconds. They hit at the end of the first quarter, a couple of seconds, Westfall outside the short. The pace has been furious here in Phoenix. The first half has come to an end, with the Phoenix Suns leading the Boston Celtics 60-57.
Greer's putting the ball on a play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek stole it. Havlicek stole the ball.
Stolen, I think, with the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Ray rocked the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
The look away to Livingston. Jordan. Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
What's your wonder, Bisa? Bringing up the ball, and you're in that groove. Top of the key, it's just you and your defender, and you're lulling him to sleep. Just get him off balance, you know. I put him between my legs, going left, and all his momentum is going to his right. There's nothing he can do. I'm at the basket now.
How sweet was that?
When it happens just right, there's no way to describe it. It just happens.
Back in Phoenix, Brent Musburger along with Rick Barry, Mindy Rudolph, and Sonny Hill. And Mindy, while you and Sonny were looking at the highlights, I went over to talk to the Dutchman, Tommy Heinsohn, about Dave Cowens, and Tommy is absolutely livid. He claims that the referees are giving every break in the world to the rookie Alvin Adams and none at all to Dave Cowens.
I don't totally agree with that. I think the referees are doing a super job up to this point. They've had a very, very difficult first half to work, and I think they need a little pat on the back, and I'm going to give it to them.
60-57, Suns over the Celtics as we start that second half. Cowens came over, and Garfield Hurd was there.
Tommy Heinsohn really upset right there, thinking the ball should have got over to his Boston Celtics. Celtics coming out and starting the second half with full court pressure.
Sobers, Adams, Hurd, Perry, and Westfall. John McLeod's 5 starters. Scott, White, Cowens, Havlicek, and Silas. So Havlicek replaces Steve Kaversky as a starter as we begin the second half here in Phoenix. The Celtics leading the series 2-1. Game 5 Friday night in the Boston Garden on CBS, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Against the shot clock, it was off of Westfall's hands, so they'll get 10 seconds with which to work now. Cowens will set the play. Adams will front him. And he uses up to 5 seconds. Alvin Adams does the job, and the Celtics turn it over.
Watch the good defense this time. Alvin Adams jumping up, cutting off the passing lanes. Of course, a lot of credit must be given to the rest of the Phoenix Suns for shutting off the openings.
Sobers bringing the ball up, and Charlie Scott was in on top of him with his 3rd personal foul. Sobers taking a little rest.
One thing Charlie's got to learn to do, and Mindy, I think you'll concur with this, when a lot of physical play takes place out there, and Charlie gets called for a couple of fouls. He tends to lose his composure, and he seems to make another mistake right afterwards. He has got to try to compose himself. He really was upset after that call. He seems to have settled down now. I think a little timing in between has helped him.
Rick, I think it also affects his offensive play, too. He tries to overcompensate.
Westfall taking a pass, driving to the basket. Turnover. Sobers comes right back up with it. Could not convert on that particular turnover, but a fine defensive play. Cowens to Havlicek. Oh, man. And Cowens right there with the offensive tap in, and here comes the full court pressure. Now they back off. They're going to let Sobers come up. Scott backing away from him. It's 62-59, 10:45 to go. Cowens at the side of Alvin Adams. Lob it into Alvin, who likes to face the basket and pick somebody off. Puts the ball on the floor. Comes up with a jump shot. Completely over the basket, and Havlicek waits to bring it down. Celtics been pulled to within one. Scott was cut off by Sobers, gave it up to Hondo, and here's Paul Silas. They'll give him that shot as they have. Cowens with a miss, and there is Silas' strength. Not outside, it's inside with an offensive rebound and an easy layup. Celtics pulled to within one, and 10:05. Sobers on the penetration, and Scott was pursuing him, and Charlie Scott has picked up his fourth foul. Heinsohn again upset.
Charlie Scott talking it over with Manny Sokol.
And there is no way that Charlie Scott's going to win that battle, Rick.
That's for sure. Take it from me.
White stepped up over Westfall and got a piece of Paul's left shoulder as he came up. His third personal. 3 team fouls against the Celtics, none against the Suns. 62-61, Phoenix leading Boston. Just underway in the third quarter. Cowens out on Adams. Here's Ricky Sobers. Got inside Scott. Back to Adams on the drive that time. Put it down, and Heinsohn is furious. He's gone back to the far end of the Celtic bench. He thought for sure that Alvin Adams should be called for an offensive charge on that play. But instead he got the field goal and drew the foul.
There's Tommy Heinsohn, but John Coley, his assistant coach, ran right over and got right in front of Tommy Heinsohn. He was afraid that Tommy might really go crazy and get thrown out of this ball game because he has picked up one technical foul. Now let's watch this replay. Here's the play coming up. Westfall hit Adams. Westfall makes the pass over to Sobers. Sobers will penetrate now. Now you'll see a pitch off to Adams. Adams charges in. Paul Silas moving over and not establishing his position until after Alvin Adams had committed himself in the air. And you must be there one step beforehand.
He was on the move, Rick. Absolutely right.
4 fouls on Paul Silas. John Havlicek has switched to the backcourt for the first time in this game. Kaversky, Silas, and Cowens will go up front for the Celtics. Havlicek and White. Scott takes a break. Silas gets inside. Shot won't fall. John Havlicek is tied up inside. We're going to have a jump ball.
The action is getting hot and heavy underneath the boards.
Boy, I'll tell you, there's more physical contact under there.
The Suns should control this tap, Brent.
And they do, Rick. Hurd tips it over to Sobers. 9:35 left in the third quarter. 65-61. Suns over the Celtics. Kaversky out on Perry. Gar Hurd using Perry as a screen. Kaversky outlet to Havlicek. Celtics within 2 field goals. Here's Kaversky from the left baseline. Now they're within 1. Cowens pressuring the ball and Alvin Adams. Westfall sets the play in the backcourt. Havlicek will take Paul. White goes over on Sobers. 2-point lead by the Suns. Guards crisscross. Hurd tries to pick off JoJo White. Up over Sobers' head to Gar Hurd. Gives it off to Alvin Adams. And Dave Cowens yanks it down, and now the Celtics can tie it with 8:52 left in the third. JoJo White on the penetration. Drew the foul, but the ball would not go, and it was Garfield Hurd, number 24, who pushed him as he began his assault. We're going to have a timeout call right here. 8 minutes and 49 seconds to go in the third quarter. The Suns over the Boston Celtics by a score of 65-63.
You got something, make me feel all right. You got something, make me stay home at night. Listen up, y'all, come on. Every day
a bravo Figaro, bravo bravissimo, a bravo Figaro, bravo bravissimo, fortunatissimo, fortunatissimo, fortunatissimo per verità, a bravo Figaro, bravo bravissimo, a bravo Figaro, bravo bravissimo, a te fortuna, a te fortuna, a te fortuna non mancherà, sono il fagoto della città, sono il fagoto della città, della città, della città, della città.
Welcome back to the NBA's greatest game.
From the Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Phoenix, Arizona, Game 4 of the NBA Championship Series has been tied 7 times. Right now, Phoenix leads Boston by a point, 70-69. 6:48 to go in the third quarter. Cowens came up against the double team and put the Celtics ahead by a point. Sobers was there along with Alvin Adams, and David went to the basket anyway.
Dave just took it right to him, and they couldn't stop him.
Garfield Hurd, Sobers cuts off him and gets to the basket on the easy layup.
That is very unusual. Very poor weak side help that time by the Celtic defense, something that they do so well.
White misses and Hurd rebounds. With the Suns leading 72-71, Paul Westphal has control. Curtis Perry wants it inside, puts it away. It's 74-71. 2 pretty offensive plays in a row by the Suns.
Let's take a look at this last basket coming up and watch this excellent pass coming up. There he goes, rolling to the basket. Garhart, lob pass by Westphal, catches it in the air, lays it in. Tremendous timing.
That was the 3rd foul against Curtis Perry. Silas short, and Cowens just dove in there to pick it up and then went down.
Fans thought there should have been a foul. Don Murphy called it a force out of bounds. It seemed to me that Dave Cowens' no momentum carrying out. Here he goes, he catches the ball, he lands, it goes right out of bounds. I can't see how that's a force out.
He bounced off the Phoenix player. You're right, Rick.
Celtics have possession as a result of that. Silence. Got Hurd up in the air and was guilty of a 3-second violation. They have turned it over. Tommy Heinsohn calling a timeout with the Celtics down by 3 points. Back in Phoenix, and is that youngster ever enjoying the action here? They love this team down in Phoenix with 5 minutes and 41 seconds to go. You know, when you think about it, they haven't got a lot of major teams down here. Arizona State, a great college team. JoJo White picked up a foul on Ricky Sobers in the backcourt. And there is the president of the team, Richard Block, applauding that call. Right on, says Richard. And don't forget Game 5 back in the Boston Garden.
Ricky Sobers going to the free throw line with an opportunity to widen the lead from 3 to 5. There's number 4. The fans have taken upon mimicking Tommy Heinsohn's every motion when he's up off the bench. They're standing up and doing the exact same thing that he's doing.
Penalty shot. So far, the Suns are not over the limit. 5:34 to go in the third quarter. Sobers uses the penalty well, and it's 76-71. It's a 5-point lead and 5:30 to go. Cowens working against Autry. Autry went down, and the foul is against number 18, David Cowens. That's his 4th. He turned around on Autry and was called for using an elbow. Heinsohn up again. Cowens livid.
Paul Silas setting a pretty good screen right there on Dennis Autry. Now watch Autry try and establish position. He gets in front, the contact, he falls down. Dennis Autry does that as well as any center in the league. And Dave Cowens did not appreciate it at all. He's still complaining about it. It's making me look good.
Out of bounds. Phoenix has turned it over.
What he was looking at, Brent, was to Don Murphy, who possibly he thought may have called the foul the other way. But Don held up on his whistle.
Heinsohn is up off that bench watching the action right now. Curtis Perry knocked that pass out of bounds. He It's 76-71. Heinsohn is livid over there on the side.
I have to say one thing. I don't think he's going to make it through the game, Brent.
It's 7-5 that you're right. Havlicek gives it up now, and here comes the rookie. Sobers. John fell down. Let's see if he's all right. Hondo is back up. 78-71. He's got the ball. He's okay. He went down heavily, trying to catch up with Sobers. He slipped. Charlie Scott, you can hear the crowd. That's the sixth man here in Phoenix. Off of Kaburski's hands. Perry came out for it. And both the referees are looking at each other. And finally they'll come the other way with Phoenix. They didn't know for sure which way they were going to go with that one. Ricky Sobers puts it down. 4:26, and listen to this noise in the background. Whistle. They didn't hear the whistle. Exactly. I don't believe it counted.
No, Manny Sokol blew the whistle. The crowd was so loud that nobody could hear the whistle. He called a foul on John Havlicek, grabbing Ricky Sobers when he was cutting through to the basket. Sobers will go to the free throw line. Tom Heinsohn just doesn't believe what he's seeing out here this evening. He wants a timeout after the free throw, he said.
I'll tell you something, fellas. I'm surprised that Tommy Heinsohn hasn't been chased up until now. The way he's been carrying on over there.
He has spent more time off the bench this evening than he has on it.
Timeout is called, which is what Tommy Heinsohn told John Havlicek. I don't have to tell you who's ahead down there in Phoenix. You can just listen to the crowd. It's 80-71. The Suns have built a 9-point advantage in an arena where they have won 18 of their last 19 games.
Come by me. Come on in. Come talk to me, baby.
Hey, how you doing?
That would be my lucky day. Will you be my sunshine forever? Or will you be just a friend of mine?
Chrysler Jeep starting lineup believes in the Orlando Magic.
I believe in Darrell Armstrong. I believe in Mike Miller.
Take it home, Mike. Take it home, Mike.
And I believe in Grant Hill.
Scoops it in.
I believe in Tracy McGrady.
Bang! Bang!
I believe in this team.
And if this team believes in Orlando.
If you don't go, you'll never know. Lower bowl ticket plans are available right now. Call 407-89-MAGIC.
My name is Matthew. I usually spend Saturdays on the court with my friends. But yesterday, I volunteered at a local sporting goods drive. A lot of people from my neighborhood were there.
How you doing?
Tom Gugliotta.
Thank you very much.
And Jason Kidd from the Phoenix Suns were helping out too.
Well, I used to have a bike like this.
We collected some great things that will give other kids a chance to play.
Here you go. For you.
Thank you. Even Sonny pitched in. Everyone had a lot of fun. Hey, Jason. Team up with your community.
JoJo White has just come back into the ball game, and we'll see how that affects it from here on in.
And have those 10 straight points that you mentioned, Brent, scored by Phoenix. 6 of them have come from Ricky Sobers, who was, of course, thrown out in that last ball game.
Scott and White in the backcourt, and the whistle was blown inside that time.
It's Curtis Perry that time called for holding John Havlicek.
His fourth foul, Rick, and Keith Erickson immediately gets off the bench and enters the game, replacing Curtis. 4 minutes and 13 seconds to go in the third quarter.
That, of course, equalizes the advantage that the Suns would have on the boards, bringing Erickson in for Perry.
White gives it to Nick Casanos on the roll off of that pick. Collins was there, won't go back down. Hurt gives it up, and here's Sobers, who's had a hot hand recently. 80-71. Suns over the Celtics. Hurd with an inside move, and it won't stay down, and Ricky Sobers comes back out with control.
Both teams missing easy opportunities underneath the basket. A lot of tension in this ball game.
Gave the Suns a fresh 24. Erickson.
That's the way he did so well in the last 2 series. Pop open that easy opportunity, 18-footer.
An 11-point lead. Sobers knocked it away, but Cowens was there, and no basket.
That is a foul on Ricky Sobers for reaching behind JoJo White, picking up his 4th personal foul also.
Westphal checks into the game.
Mindy, you pointed out that JoJo White was on the bench before. Paul Westphal, the leading scorer for the Phoenix Suns, was on the bench during that run by Phoenix. Shows you just don't know what's going to happen in a professional basketball game. It is really incredible.
That's what makes it so great, Rick. It's so unpredictable.
Exactly. And one thing I want to point out now we have a chance, it's easy for us to be sitting here telling the things they should be doing and shouldn't be doing, but it's very difficult out there on the floor to achieve perfection. The whole thing, as far as the secret of it is concerned, is to try to minimize your mistakes and learn by those that you make.
82-72. Tommy Heinsohn watching as the Celtics have just scored their first points in over 3 minutes. We have 3 minutes and 16 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Suns patiently go to Paul Westphal from deep in the corner, and out come the Celtics. They can pull to within 8, but they've turned it over on a sloppy pass, and Scott's hurt. He hit a microphone over there.
He hit the cameraman first. He hit the cameraman's camera, and he hit it on his knee.
He ricocheted off of a cameraman, and he hit a microphone over there as he came down. I'm not sure where he was struck. It might have been around the groin area where he took that microphone.
Looked like he grabbed the knee first, Brent.
Was it
I saw
the knee?
him going down. He grabbed his right knee as he was going down, or the left one. I'm not positive, but he reached for his knee. Let's take a look now. Here's Charlie, crashes in. Now watch his knee. It looks like the right knee crashes into the camera. Now watch him grab a knee. No, it was his left one. He grabbed the left knee. You see his hand on the knee right there.
That's a film cameraman over on the side.
It hit the table. Looked like his left knee crashes into the table.
No question about it. He hit that film cameraman and then bounced off up into the table. Paul Mahalik, the alternate referee, reaching over to assist him. Tommy Heinsohn is there, and Charlie Scott is up. He of course, was a former star down here.
And I'm happy to see that, Brent. The crowd here, as intense as this series has been, they're giving Charlie Scott an ovation, and that is really good to see. That's good sportsmanship.
Rick, let's keep an eye on that knee, however. Charlie's still bending down, trying to stretch it. Three minutes, 82-72. Phoenix with a 10-point lead. Autry working against Cowens. Westphal has it knocked away. Scott's got a lead. Long pass. Garfield Hurd gets back and knocks it out of bounds.
Well, the knee didn't seem to affect Charlie's quickness that time. He used his hands very well, anticipated well, knocked the ball out of the hands of Paul Westphal.
Dick Van Arsdale working in that backcourt for Phoenix along with Paul Westphal. Havlicek comes up on Westphal, misses off Autry's hands and off the side of his body and out of bounds.
Dave Townsend, a smart play there, knocked the ball off of Dennis Autry out of bounds.
Al Bianchi yelling instructions. He is the assistant to John McLeod. Cowens pops out. Havlicek, and he traveled as the two of them. Havlicek and Scott got tangled up with the offensive rebound, and they have turned it over.
Let's watch this play. Watch Charlie Scott and John Havlicek both push the man out of the way, and John catches it, loses his balance, and walks with it. But Charlie Scott just shoved one of the Phoenix Suns off to get that rebound.
2 minutes and 15 seconds left in the 3rd quarter of Game 4. Erickson gives it up to Westphal. Cowens yelling defensive instructions. Autry gets back. Cowens gets inside position and takes it down. 2-on-1, and Scott very good breaking that time. Knee not bothering him. 82-74, 1:56 to go in the 3rd. And Arsdale goes down. Here comes Scott. It's 2-on-1. Scott has a gimme. It is 82-76, and back they come, the men in green. And Arsdale cuts to the leg, gets inside on the penetration.
And that is another foul. This time it's going to be on Charlie Scott again. That's going to be his 5th personal foul. And he is a little bit upset about it. This could be a problem for the Celtics. When Charlie goes out of the game, they seem to lose a little bit of the intensity as far as picking up in the backcourt and putting pressure on the Phoenix Suns guards. And it's going to be Kevin Staken coming in for him, Brent.
And Rick Alvin Adams just checked back in for Phoenix. So the rookie is back at center. He's going to finish out the third quarter. He'll start the fourth. And here's Kevin Staken being booed, obviously, because of the fight that he got into with Ricky Sobers on Sunday afternoon in Game 3. And don't forget Game 5 in the Boston Garden, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. And here comes Staken, second-year pro from Providence with number 27, against Paul Westphal, a former teammate. Westphal comes in behind him and was called for the foul, reaching around him.
Watch the play here. Staken dribbling the ball. Now watch Westphal sneak around his left side, reach under, try to go for the ball, catches a little bit more than just the basketball. And in this situation, with an 8-point lead, only a minute and a half to go in the third quarter, that's a little bit of a gamble. Kevin Staken was not in a good position to be an offensive threat, and that's a silly foul, I would say, right there by Paul Westphal.
Misses both free throws. Arsdale was out to pick. Westphal went around him. Got to the left baseline. Heinsohn screaming over on the Celtic bench. Van Arsdale pump shot. It's 10 points again. Phoenix ahead of Boston. And Van Arsdale blocked JoJo White. And Van Arsdale says, I had my position.
Okay, Mindy. This is another one of those calls.
The big key here, Rick, is to watch that defensive player.
There's the mayor of Phoenix. She was very happy about the play that she saw there. I'm sure that the expression was not quite the same on the last one.
On those blocks and charges, Rick, it's the defensive player that usually will cause the contact. You've got to watch whether he's retreating or whether he is stationary.
Celtics trailing the Suns by 8 points and 1 minute to play in the third quarter. Adams trying to pick someone off. Celtics with excellent interior defense. Westphal finally on an awkward turnaround. Couldn't get it in. And here come the Celts. They can pull to within 6. From the perimeter, White misses. Celtics battle to save it, and they do. 2 players out of bounds. Silas and JoJo. Ball back to Staken. Van Arsdale now joins the attack. Cowens puts it down. And it's 86 to 80 and 21 seconds. And they ran into the president of the Suns, Richard Blount. Using the clock finally, Westphal drove into Dave Cowens. Cowens jumped in on him. And let's see who that first foul is on.
That is on Dave Cowens, Brent, and that is a big foul. That was a great move by Paul Westphal to create that foul opportunity by Cowens. He got by JoJo. Watch him come up. Cowens goes up, leaves his feet. If he hadn't left his feet, he might have been able to draw the charge, Mendy.
He's been all right as long as he's been on the floor. You're right. The thing I can't understand right now, Rick, is the driving lane has opened up and the Celtics are not shutting the Phoenix Suns off.
The weak side help has left a little bit to be desired. Very unusual, Brent, for Paul Westphal to be missing 2 consecutive free throw opportunities. He's an excellent free throw shooter.
Makes this one, it is 87 to 80. Phoenix in the last 5 seconds of the third quarter. Staken driving to the basket. It wouldn't go down. Havlicek tries to put it back up. Buzzer goes off, and the Celtics cannot score.
Weightlessness. Unfazed by gravity. You're floating. Focused as you drift. Common boundaries lie somewhere below. Time seems to stand still. Separation, ascent, expression.
The game really is a lot like jazz. You can take a jazz quintet and actually liken it to 5 people on a basketball court. The point guard would be like the piano player, because in most bands the piano is like the brain. Then you have the power forward, which is like the drummer. I think that small forward position, I'd have to give that to that tenor saxophone. But I think if I was a coach, I wouldn't put me in the game. I play a good anthem, man.
It started when you picked up your first ball. You were learning. Learning how to dribble, how to shoot. But there was more. Things that weren't as much fun, but just as important. Things that made a difference. You learned so much about this game. You even learned to love it. And just when you thought you knew it all, you learned a little more.
Welcome back to the NBA's greatest game.
Celtics go back to work with Scott on the bench. So far, we have had 55 fouls called in this game. There were 65 called in Game 3 here Sunday. It's been that tough. White got inside, hit the basket, and drew the foul.
JoJo White.
Sobers.
JoJo White showing why he is such an effective performer. He has been probably one of the most consistent of the Celtics throughout the season, as well as in the playoffs.
Sobers will be playing with 5 personal fouls.
He won't be playing long, Brent. They're bringing in Phil Lumpkin.
Three-point play for White makes it 87-83. Sobers back quickly. He's been working along with Van Arsdale, Erickson, Gar Hurd, and Alvin Adams. Turnaround by Hurd.
Nice soft cut shot by Gar Hurd. We haven't heard very much from Alvin Adams, and I would expect to see him start to do a little bit more offensively for the Phoenix Suns.
Jimmy Ard is in the game now with Dave Cowens on the bench.
Right, especially with Ard out.
Havlicek inside pass to Silas, who put it on the floor. Still went back up and got the basket. 89-85. It's 4 points.
With Ard in the game. This is who we capitalized on in game number 3 against Jimmy Ard. Alvin Adams.
Phoenix offense extremely spread out right now. And Arsdale working against the shot clock, and the ball was knocked out of bounds. Touch last by Staken.
That's a break for the Suns. They would have had to force up a difficult shot. Now they get 10 more seconds to work for a good opportunity.
And Rick, here's Lumpkin checking in as Sobers goes out.
Let's see if they take JoJo down and try to post him over Lumpkin.
Gar Hurd got into the center. Havlicek got a hand on that ball. 89-85. Celts can pull to within 2 points. Silas on a drive to the basket, tossed it up, drew the foul.
Very important at this stage, Brent. That's 2 team fouls now on the Phoenix Suns. Take a look at the play right here. This Silas putting it on the ground, going up for the basket, picking up the foul. But it's a situation now where this is really a big bonus for the Boston Celtics. They've got Dave Cowens and Charlie Scott sitting on the bench, and they're whittling away at that Phoenix lead.
Curtis Perry checks in for Phoenix. Gar Hurd goes out. That first cell against Phil Lumpkin, his first. John McLeod's wife looking on. They've only been married for about a year and a half or 2. John, of course, formerly the coach at Oklahoma.
One statistic that's very important for the Phoenix Suns, they were able to stay even with the Celtics on the boards, 23 each in the first half.
White was back pressuring and almost took it away from Alvin Adams. Now Perry with the ball on the floor.
Very good call by Manny Sokol. It's going to be a 10-second violation in the backcourt. They did not get the ball across the half-court line in time. John McLeod, I'm sure, was not too happy with that turnover.
His team ahead by 3. And the Celtics whittling away. Silas again at the offensive glass. Through the foul, and he'll come to the line.
Paul Silas has really been a thorn in the side of the Phoenix Suns, and here he's going to exhibit why he is the performer that he is in this game. Look at this great move that he makes here and slides inside, uses good position, keeps the ball alive, comes back, gets it again, goes up, picks up the foul.
4 fouls on Keith Erickson. Celtics down by 3.
The only other player I've ever seen who was as proficient in offensive rebounding and did not have great jumping ability was Bailey Howell.
Paul Westphal, who has just checked back in. And as he does, the scoreboard shows 3 team fouls against Phoenix and none against the Celtics. Down to the 10-minute mark. Suns need a victory here to even up this championship series. Boston would dearly love to go back to the Garden leading 3 games to 1. Adams to Van Arsdale, who cut off his man beautifully, and that's why Alvin Adams was the Rookie of the Year. 91-87, it's a 4-point lead, and 9 minutes and 40 seconds on that clock. Stakem missing. Battle for the loose ball out of bounds, and it will go over now to Phoenix.
Take a look at this last play by Phoenix. Alvin Adams goes up in the air, makes a super pass to Dick Van Arsdale, cut to the basket when his defensive man turned his head.
Erickson wanted to give it to Van Arsdale, not open, so he takes the shot. And the Celtics control at the defensive end. Chance to pull to within 2 points. Hard was driving to the basket that time, and the crowd thought he should have been called for an offensive foul.
Jimmy Hard is a little mechanical in his moves. Let's watch the play here. Now notice his left shoulder. He's going to dip his left shoulder as he makes the fake and goes to the basket. Watch his left shoulder. He tries to lean in right there. Alvin Adams picking up the foul, hitting him on the arm as he goes in. Mindy, what do you think about that little dip move with the left shoulder? He's like initiating the contact there.
It depends again, Rick, on the position that the referee is in, whether he can see it or not. Of course, if he can get away with it, he'll do it all night.
Right. Jimmy Hard, once again, doing a good, smart thing, going to the basket where you have a lot better opportunity to capitalize on defensive errors.
Celtics pull to within a field goal. Pressure now as Westphal comes up. Stakem takes ball. No team fouls yet against the Boston Celtics. Lob pass to Alvin Adams, who puts it away inside. Ball movement by the Celtics as they try to get an inside shot, and they do, successfully by Jimmy Hard. 93-91. 8 minutes and 25 seconds to go. Charlie Scott on that Celtic bench with 5 personals. Ricky Sobers on the Phoenix bench. He has 5. Those are the only 2 regulars with 5. Adams. 2 quick field goals by the Rookie of the Year, and here he comes again in the 4th quarter. It's 95-91. Cowan's still on the bench over there for the Celtics. He has 5 fouls also.
That was Paul Westphal picking up the foul. That is his 4th personal foul. Watch the play. He grabbed onto the pants of the man he was guarding, is what Don Murphy said, as he was trying to cut across to the opposite side of the floor. And he is really upset about it. He was trying to find out what happened, and when he was told, you saw his reaction there.
Bianchi and McLeod are arguing along with Paul Westphal right now.
They're claiming that it was Kevin Stakem who should be at the foul line, I believe, rather than JoJo White. They said JoJo wasn't even in the play and he shouldn't be at the line. It was Kevin Stakem.
You can see why, watching JoJo put his free throws down. 95-93, 8:04.
As one of my teammates gets a rebound, I'm already thinking about who's on the right side, who's on the left side, and who's going to be trailing me. All I'm doing is trying to just look at the defender. I'm going to see what he's doing. I like the no-look pass. Between my legs, just look away, around the back. If there's a perfect pass, it'll be to the right person at the right time. A perfect pass is getting somebody in the rhythm to shoot the ball. You have to love the pass. You just have to love the game of basketball.
Get. Buzzer. Whip. Hornet. Basketball.
For individual game tickets, call 1-800-4NBA-TICKS. Visit Hornets.com or Ticketmaster.
Number 33, Stephon Marbury. And a display of basketball skills by Stephon Marbury.
Tries the triple team, lays it in and is fouled.
They love this young guy.
Oh, baby, was that beautiful.
I love this game.
All right, here we are, and you can see where the arrow is pointing. Paul Westphal grabbing Kevin Steakham's shorts, and they had every right in the world to be arguing. The officials missed this play. JoJo White had no business being on the free throw line. He's a good free throw shooter. Kevin Steakham had just a short time ago missed 2 free throws, and so that's what the argument was about, and the Phoenix Suns were right.
And the 6th man in Phoenix up cheering again. 8 minutes and 3 seconds. 95-93. The Suns over the Celtics. Suns trailing the Celtics in this championship final 2 games to 1. Van Arsdale, Westphal, Erickson, Adams, and Perry. Shot clock goes down towards 5 seconds. Westphal has it blocked by Jimmy Ard, who came across.
Well, looked to me like that might have been goaltending. I don't know whether the ball reached his height or not. Jim Ard made a great play on it.
I disagree with you, Rick. I think the ball was going up, and I think he caught it before it hit its apex.
10 seconds for the Suns. Adams with Ard on him. And the foul on John Havlicek.
That is John Havlicek's third personal foul. That's only the first team foul against the Celtics, and the Suns are in the bonus. A very big factor in a close basketball game.
Adams goes around on Ard and hits the iron. Terry deflected over to Westphal.
That's a big break for the Phoenix Suns. A touch shot by Adams didn't go, and they were lucky to get the ball back.
4 points, Suns lead. Collins and Scott still on Tommy Heinsohn's bench. 7:20 to go in this game. JoJo. And it's a 2-point Phoenix lead.
Tommy Heinsohn faces a very interesting problem. How long do you keep them out? Can the Suns possibly run off 6 quick points, and then you might have real trouble bringing them back in? Or do you bring them in now while it's still close? Interesting problem.
Suns take the shot clock inside of 10. And it was against Jimmy Ard.
Let's watch the play here. Notice Jim Ard's hands. Right now he's got 2 hands on. Now there's one. There's one. Now he's got both hands again. He still has another hand on him. He's playing him totally with his hands.
3 fouls on Ard. Adams drives. Was going to pass it. Kept the ball in his right hand. Tremendous ball control and just banked it in. It's 99-95. 6:40. Ard against Adams and Curtis Perry.
That is a terrible shot to be taking at this stage. That is not Jim Ard's play.
Alvin Adams brings it home.
show you that even the best can get better.
Let's go, come on, guys. What do you mean? Let's go.
As the NBA mascot consultant. My research shows this is funny. What do? Yes, nice, guys. What are you, anyway? Hey! Feel the burn, baby. Oh, nice. I like that.
I told everybody that I'm not from this planet. I'm from the planet Lovetron. If I'm from the planet Lovetron, Chris Webber got to be from Chocolate Paradise. When I played, I wanted to dunk on everybody. I had to get out of the way and backboard sway and game delay and again groove and your best get moving. But I think Chris Webber can come out with a monster turbosonic delight. I like Chris, and I'm gonna have to offer up a few more names for his dunks in the years to come.
Welcome back to the NBA's greatest game.
Cowan's back in the game. Charlie Scott back in the game. The stretch run. Both with 5 fouls. White, Harris by Perry. Over to Scott. And the pass is turned over as it goes out of bounds.
Excellent defense again by the Phoenix Suns as Ricky Sobers prepares to come back into this ball game.
Down to 6 minutes. Havlicek helping Cowens out with Adams as Perry comes up with a turnaround and JoJo White with rebounding position. Celtics trailing by those 6 points and White pressuring, and Keith Erickson came from behind, got a hand on the ball and forced the turnover.
Great pursuit by Keith Erickson that time.
Now Van Arsdale sets it up. Suns go to work against the shot clock. Adams being fronted and back. Here's Silas over on Perry. Adams far away from the basket. Shot clock down toward 5. Inside of 5. Pass gets away from Perry. And it has gone off. Would you believe that play? I thought for sure it was going over to the Boston Celtics that time.
That was good hustle by Curtis Perry, who never stopped hustling after the ball and had a chance to throw it back in off of Paul Silas's legs.
Perry going out right now, and Garfield Hurd throws the inbounds pass to Adams, and it is Westfall, 103 to 95.
A great head fake, and the defensive man made the big mistake that you shouldn't do, leave your feet defensively.
Celtics trail by 8 points. Towns wanted to give it right back to Charlie Scott, and it goes off the Celtics and back to the Suns.
This is not what you expect to see, the Boston Celtics making silly turnovers. Those are the type of plays that really hurt in a close ball game, and they usually are the team that has the poise and executes so well. Very reminiscent of what we did in Game 7.
4:55, 103-95. Erickson off the iron. Havlicek comes out, and the Celtics got a 3-on-2 developing. Scott over on the right takes the pass, gives it up to JoJo, and it was Ricky Sobers who jumped over on the defense.
Celtics had a good opportunity there, but give credit to Ricky Sobers for a fine defensive effort.
4 minutes and 43 seconds to play. Suns battling to tie this championship up. Havlicek puts it down. 103-97. It is a 6-point Suns lead. Sobers loses it, but Westfall was right there. The Suns will patiently go to work now on the clocks. Hurd holds it. Shot clock motoring down to 7, and on the turnaround, Westfall missed it, and the Celtics can close the gap right now. 4:15 on the clock. Scott turns inside of Paul Westfall, who kept a hand on the ball. It'll be the Celtics. They'll set an inbounds play. Charlie Scott will throw it in. JoJo White's the deep man, and Cowens pops to the side, and here's Silas. Havlicek uses the Silas screen but misses, and Garfield Hurd did not give the Celtics a second chance. 3 minutes and 55 seconds left in Phoenix. 103-97.
Phoenix Suns need to get a good shot here.
Cowens jumps out on Westfall on the switch. Sobers down in the corner.
Charlie Scott going to fourth consecutive playoff game in the finals, setting all sorts of records for that particular statistic. not exactly one that you would like to see happen if you were a Boston Celtics fan, especially Tommy Heinsohn as being the coach. You don't want a player like that to foul out of the game. Let's watch the play. Charlie Scott coming, running over, trying to fight off the screen. You see him right there as he hooked Alvin Adams. Right there, he's holding on to him again. No question about the call.
Celtics not yet over the limit. 3 fouls. Manny Sokol was over talking to Tommy, and Heinsohn making a couple of steps back toward him. John Killalay, the assistant coach, pushing Tommy back, the crowd yelling for that second technical. Tommy picked one up early. Curtis Perry replaces Keith Erickson with John McLeod.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Tommy Heinsohn has really been demonstrative over there. Has gotten away with quite a bit in this game, Mindy.
I think he should have been probably ejected maybe 4 or 5 minutes ago, Rick. He has really been up and down like a yo-yo.
Adams missed the shot, and here's Hondo back for the Celtics. Gar Hurd, outlet now to Westfall. Cowens comes back with JoJo White. Adams gets inside, and there's Dave Cowens. And Cowens down with the rebound. 3:19. Don Nelson on the floor for the Celtics. Havlicek in that backcourt. Charlie Scott having fouled out. Don Nelson from the left corner put it down. It's 103-99. It is a 4-point Phoenix lead.
I believe in history. And I'm a part of history. If the average fan today could see some of the moves of Elgin Baylor and Connie Hawkins, then they would say, whoa, I've seen those things before. A great many, many, many times. It was somewhat magical. And the fans should know that it isn't just being done today, it had been done yesteryear.
When I was 12 years old, I told Red Auerbach that I'd be the first woman to play for the Celtics. Sorry, Red. I'm booked.
Minutes and 4 seconds. It's 103-99. Suns have the ball out of bounds. Gar Hurd will toss it in for John McLeod. Here's Ricky Sobers. Silas goes back down with her. A 4-point Phoenix lead. 2 minutes and 55 seconds left in this game. Sobers gives it back to Perry, who drives underneath and puts down a great big basket for them.
Exactly what I talked about, Brett. They tried to get inside, and they ran the play to its perfection.
105-99. 2:35 left. Don Nelson throws it up on the move, and Paul Silas had inside position on Adams. Celtics down by 2 field goals. What a marvelous game Paul Silas has played at the offensive board, as he usually does. I want to see Paul Silas sometime play a bad one there. I don't think he knows how. Here's Gar Hurd, Silas there on defense. Sobers trying to get inside, gives it back to Alvin Adams with only 4 seconds left on the clock. And the 3-second violation, an important turnover.
This is an important series now for the Celtics. If they cut it down to 2 points, really puts the heat on the Phoenix Suns.
105 for 101. We are inside of 2 minutes here in Phoenix. Dave Cowens rolls the hook shot, and the Celtics trail by a field goal. Now the Suns come back. One of their two rookies, Ricky Sobers, puts it down. He's working along with Dick Van Arsdale. John McLeod moves down. Maybe he's going to send Erickson back in. Yes, indeed. It is Keith Erickson getting up. Curtis Perry holding it against Nelson. 138. Suns lead it. Sobers on the penetration. Throws it in. It's 4 points again. 107, 103, and 130. Havlicek right back down. Silas with control. Garherd giving him a lot of room. They love Silas to shoot it outside. He's inside. JoJo White, and it's 2 points again. Suns with the ball. The pressure cooker heats up. Sobers takes it and cuts in behind and brings it up, checking the clock. 114, 112, 107, 105. Suns leading it by a field goal. Celtics need the ball back right here. Some good defense. Shot clock goes down toward 5 seconds. Garfield Hurd got inside, and he tapped it back in after missing it. Tommy Heinsohn wants a timeout. 58 seconds. The Celtics are trailing it by 4 points. Crowd chanting defense. Clock starts rotating down towards 50 seconds. It's 109 to 105. Celtics need to set up here and then get it back. Cowens again rolling inside. They trail it by 2. 50 seconds left in this basketball game.
That's exactly what they did not want to allow to happen.
Here is Sobers bringing it up on JoJo. Cowens in the backcourt, pressuring the ball. Cowens was leaving Alvin Adams. Inside of 40 seconds. Shot clock down towards 10. Suns lead it by a field goal right now, and there was a whistle. Don Nelson was working against Curtis Perry, and he held him up, and he drew the personal foul that time.
That's a big play. Celtics will now be in the bonus. That takes care of that, Mindy, what you brought up. Now we have a situation where they get a new 24 seconds. There's only 34 to go in the game. If they can use up the clock, and John McLeod is going to call a timeout, and if they do score, the Celtics will then get the ball with approximately 10 to 12 seconds left in the basketball game, and the Suns would definitely be in control. This is now the biggest offensive series of the Phoenix Suns season.
He's going to go with Garfield Hurd, Keith Erickson, Dick Van Arsdale, Alvin Adams, and Ricky Sobers. So Perry goes over to the sideline and sits down with 34 seconds on the clock. The Celtics, of course, we have Cowens, Havlicek. Kaburski has come in to give them just a little bit more mobility as Nelson comes out. If the Celtics had the ball, I'm sure that Nelson would stay in there for his shooting touch. Clock starts down. Mindy Rudolph and Rick Barry have set the stage. The Suns lead it by 2. Patiently against the clock. Alvin Adams turns to pass it off. Garfield Hurd with Kaburski on him. Keith Erickson out away from the basket. Won't go. Alvin Adams. Here come the Celtics with a chance to tie. Down toward 10 seconds. Here's Hondo Havlicek. Heinsohn pointing at the clock. Havlicek now gives it over to JoJo White. White pumps one up. Won't go. There it is. The Phoenix Suns have given us a 6th game.